Good day, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. We bring you news, events, and stories abound in the state system. ATN's appetite for in-depth, unbiased, and factual reportage is the driving force for this program in order to bring you government activities to the doorstep of the people. Let's go through the highlights. Today's reports: in River State, Port Harcourt Courts delivers judgment. Explosion rocks APP Secretariat. In Ogun State, 2 Chinese expatriates kidnapped. NDIC, Heritage Bank unpaid 7.6% of depositors. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight into the details. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and now we dive into the details for today. A River State High Court in Port Harcourt delivered judgment today, August 12, 2024, in a suit filed by elected state, local government, and executive wards of the All Progressives Congress, APC, under the leadership of Emeka Beke, against the party's national executive and 7-man caretaker committee of APC in River State, led by Tony Okocha. The presiding judge, Justice Sika Akporioku, after listening to arguments and final written addresses from the counsel representing the parties at the last hearing, reserved the judgment for a date to be communicated within 48 hours. In a court circular, Justice Akporioku announced that the judgment would be delivered virtually at noon today. He urged the counsels to be punctual and informed them that the security would be heightened around the court. Sam Metetegun, representing the sacked state executive of APC, along with Banat Ezemoye and Ezekiel Ubom of the local government and ward executives, are seeking judicial interpretation of the APC constitution and Nigerian law regarding their suspension and the subsequent inauguration of the 7-man caretaker committee by Okocha. In other stories, a dynamite explosion rocked the Secretariat, the Action People's Party, along the GRA axis of Port Harcourt, River State capital on Monday morning, which was today. It was gathered that the incident occurred in the wee hours of today, precisely around 1 a.m. The assailants allegedly threw substances believed to be dynamite into the building houses. The Secretariat shattered windows and doors as well as destroying other property of the party. This came amid speculations that the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara, plans to move with his supporters to the APP following the alleged hijack of the People's Democratic Party in the state by his predecessors and estranged political godfather, Nyesom Wike. Reports that the ceilings and fittings in the building were also destroyed, while some party officials were cited discussing the development. A party official who refused to disclose his identity said the incident was politically motivated and said, quoting, "Yes, I am a member of the APP. I was informed about the attack about 3 a.m. today. This is politically motivated and there is no two ways about it. They know that the APP is a fast-growing political party in the state." On the police investigate this and arrest the culprits. When contacted, the spokesperson for the State Police Command, Grace Iringekoko, said she was not yet aware of the incident but promised to find out and get back to our correspondent. The Rivers State Police Command says it has launched an investigation into the explosion that rocked the office of the Action People's Party along the GRA axis of Port Harcourt on Monday morning. The command's spokesperson, Grace Iringekoko, told ATM reporters that the team of bomb experts have been deployed to the scene of the blast. According to Iringekoko, the State Police Commissioner and other top officers of the command are currently inspecting the party's office to have first-hand information. She, however, told that a thorough investigation has been launched to unravel the circumstances surrounding the incident. She said, "I can confirm to you that the blast at the state office of APP, however, the command has deployed anti-bomb squad to the scene while investigations have been launched to unravel the circumstances surrounding the incident." She said, "Although some properties were damaged, no life was lost in the incident," she said. She promised that further information will be made available to reporters as investigation unfolds. There's more to the news, but don't forget that we are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can contact us and connect with us on all our ATN socials: Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network; Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1; X, formerly known as Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Able residents in Owerri North Local Government Area, Imo State, have been thrown into deep mourning as 4 young men lost their lives while attempting to evacuate dongs from the sewage pit of Umunwo-Koji, Umuyalu village. The incident that took mysterious dimensions saw the 4 workers taking turns to enter into the pit without coming out alive. According to the information from the resident who doesn't want his name mentioned, the first person at the well to evacuate the dongs but was unable to climb out. In an attempt to rescue him, the second person entered too, followed by the third and fourth persons, all of whom lost their lives under such mysterious circumstances, the source said. The remains of the 4 victims were later evacuated and deposited in a mortuary. The cause of their death is yet to be determined. An environmental engineer, Sunday Ihekire, while commenting on the incident, said, "This incident is a tragic reminder of the importance of prioritizing safety protocols while embarking in such potential hazardous activities. Our thoughts are with the families and loved ones of the victims during this difficult time." Meanwhile, a resident who described the incident as a bad omen disclosed that among the dead was a newly married man with a month-old baby. Analysts have advised Nigerians to stop using equipment and appliances that are faulty. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program, ATN Sunday, an economist and public affairs analyst, Diema Emmanuel George, said that Nigerians should fix failed equipment to avoid dangers. The analyst urged Nigerians to avoid some cultural beliefs that has made them to be lackadaisical and complacent.
acting out to shape the next generation of leaders. So some of these cultural practices and beliefs that have stalled our development, that has made us to become people that are lackadaisical and complacent with our health and well-being, we need to correct these abnormalities.
This is coming after the Lagos State Police Command confirmed the death of a 17-year-old teenager who was electrocuted while working with his stepfather at a building construction site. In other stories, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it intercepted 532 parcels of loud, a synthetic strain of cannabis sativa, Indian hemp, at the Tinkan Seaport, Lagos State. The agency's Director of Media and Advocacy, Mr. Femi Babafemi, said this in a statement on Sunday in Abuja. Babafemi said that the drugs, which weighed 265.25 kilograms, were found inside a black Toyota Sienna bus on Wednesday, August 7th. He said that the bus was one of the 3 vehicles in a container marked MSMU 6029570, coming from Montreal, Canada. He said the seizure was made during a 100% joint examination with men of Customs Service and other stakeholders. The following day, which was Thursday, the operatives recorded yet another seizure of 75 parcels of the same substance weighing 37.5 kilograms in a container marked FSCU 9274613 that came from Canada, he said. In another development in Adamawa, NDLEA operatives on Thursday, with the support of men of Operation Farauta Sector 3, Mayor Belwa, detained a 49-year-old Joseph Peter over an alleged drug trafficking. Babafemi said that the suspect was found with 425 compressed blocks of cannabis sativa weighing 291.200 kilograms in his Toyota Camry car marked Lagos KSF 381HM. The NDLEA spokesman said the suspect claimed he was bringing the consignment from Edo to be delivered in Yola, Adamawa. Also, 2 suspects, Adekunle Adebayo, 50 years old, and Yahaya Mahmudu, 35 years old, were apprehended and detained at Gadar Tamburawa area of Kano on Tuesday with 29.5 kilograms of cannabis. Babafemi said the NDLEA operatives in Lagos also recovered 1,169 kilograms of the same psychoactive substance concealed in a bus along Okar Road, Aja, on Sunday, August 4th. According to him, no less than 1,230.00 kg of cannabis was destroyed on 3 hectares of farmland at Ikeji Forest, Edimogo Village, Igala Melu, Odolo Local Government Area, Kogi State, on Friday. This was carried out by NDLEA officials supported by men of the Nigerian Army, while the owner, Danjuma Maji, 40 years old, has been detained, he said. Moving on, the Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS, has initiated a formal probe into the incident at Muritala Mohammed Airport, MMIA, in Lagos, where a video showed a woman intentionally damaging a Nigerian passport. This was confirmed in a press statement issued late on Sunday by Kenneth Udo, the spokesperson for the Nigerian Immigration Service, saying the woman has been identified as Mrs. Favor Igbebo, holding the passport number A11990869. The video shows NIS personnel present during the incident, yet failing to intervene, despite the woman's open admission, proudly declaring, "Namitieram, I'm the one who tore it." She was permitted to depart the airport without being detained or facing any consequences. In the viral video, the irate woman unapologetically confessed to destroying her husband's passport. After boldly confessing to the act, the woman took their 2 children with her and abandoned her husband, who seemed shocked and left speechless by the sudden turn of events. Quoting her, she said, "Bring my children out for me. If you want to sleep there, you can be there." NIS officials consoled the husband, urging him to remain calm and composed, and surprisingly advised him to respond with silence, implying that, as a man, he should quietly endure the humiliation without speaking out. Efforts to get a comment from Kenneth Udo, the NIS spokesman, on Sunday were unsuccessful as he was unavailable for response. Numerous phone calls were ignored and text messages sent to him went unanswered. However, in response to the incident, which was in a statement released in night signed by Udo, the Comptroller General of Immigration, K.N. Nandap, directed that Ms. Favor Igebo be invited for further investigation. The statement continued, "If the allegations are substantiated, her actions would breach a section of the Constitution, 10 subsection B of the Immigration Act 2015 as amended, with corresponding penalties outlined under section 10 subsection H of the same act. The Nigerian Immigration Service remains steadfast in its commitment to upholding the provisions of the Immigration Act in the interest of national security and to preserving the dignity and integrity of the nation's legal instruments." In other news, 2 Chinese expatriates identified as Cheng Wengang and Liang Ding have been abducted in the Kemta Abuleowo area along Onigbedu Road in Ogun State. Recently learned today that the 2 were abducted around 1:45 p.m. on Sunday when they left the company to visit their friends. A police source who was not authorized to speak on behalf of the command informed correspondents that Wengang and Ding were affiliated with the Good One Carton Company situated in the area. Wengang and Ding left the company on their own without notifying security, including the police and military assigned to the company, nor did they inform the company itself. They mentioned to a few people that they were heading to Kemta village, about a kilometer away from the company, to visit some friends, the source said. The spokesperson for the State Command, Omolola Odutola, confirmed that the incident to our correspondent on Monday, stating that the kidnappers had contacted the company to demand a ransom for their release. She said the company's security supervisor reported that one of the expatriates called to inform him that Wengang and Ding had been kidnapped and that the kidnappers were demanding money in exchange for their release. Our operatives in the Kokoro division, with the assistance of local vigilantes, military personnel from the Social Orientation and Safety Corps, local hunters, and other security groups, thoroughly searched the entire Kemta village forest for the duo, but were unable to find them. She said that efforts to secure the release of the duo were ongoing. Remember that on May 3rd, 2024, the abduction of 3 Indian nationals who were kidnapped on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the victims were later released after being held captive by the abductors for 3 days. The Ondo State Police Command has released the governorship candidates of the African Action Congress, AAC. In a forthcoming governorship election in the state, Kunle Wiseman Ajayi, who was arrested over the End Bad Governance protests, on Saturday, Ajayi was taken into custody in Akure, along with several other demonstrators, including Patrick Owolabi, a member of the Take It Back TIB movement, a human rights advocacy group. The arrest occurred on the 10th day of the nationwide hunger strike dubbed End Bad Governance in Nigeria, which was aimed to bring attention to the calls to improve governance in the country. Wiseman was released on Sunday night as confirmed by Take It Back movement and former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress in the 2023 general elections, Omole Sowore, on X handle. However, the police also released Toby Pope alongside arrested Wiseman, but are still holding Patrick Owolabi in detention. Confirming Ajayi's release, TIB wrote, Kunle Wiseman Ajayi and 5 other illegally detained in Ondo by Police NG have been released this evening. The police force is still illegally holding a student activist, Patrick Owolabi, in custody. We demand his immediate release. Also, Sowore wrote, Gubernatorial candidate of AAC party Ondo State, Kunle Wiseman Ajayi, and 5 others illegally detained in Ondo by Nigerian police force for participating in the End Bad Governance were released this evening. However, Police NG is still illegally holding a student activist, Patrick Owolabi. The lawyer representing the arrested protesters, Tokbe Temokun, who also confirmed release of Ajayi and others, lamented that Owolabi, who is the TIB coordinator in Ondo State, was still being held for flimsy reasons. In a statement titled, "Today No Sabbath for our CP in Akure," the lawyer said that as a result of pressure from the relentless forces of the struggle, the Ondo State Commissioner of Police had to resume office on Sunday to see to the release of the detained protesters. Nigeria Labour Congress NLC yesterday asked President Bola Tinubu administration to stop the blame game, reverse his policies reverse his policies that have caused Nigerians hardship, and engage in meaningful dialogue with relevant stakeholders. Similarly, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party LP in the 2023 poll, Mr. Peter Obi, said the nationwide protests, which ended on Saturday, were a call to Nigeria's leaders to reflect deeply on the growing poverty in the country and take steps to address it. Former National Vice Chairman Northwest of the ruling All Progressives Party Congress, APC, Sahiul Lukman, spoke in the same vein, describing the nationwide protests against hunger and bad governance as sufficient grounds for impeachment of the president and some state governors. The NLC also alleged that since President Tinubu took over the reins of power, he had engaged in harassment and intimidation of labor leaders, adding that the recent invasion of his headquarters was to provoke the labor movement. These, amongst others, were contained in a communique issued at the end of the Emergency National Executive Council NEC meeting of the NLC held at the weekend. In the communique by NLC President Mr. Joa Jeru, NEC reaffirmed the Congress commitment to defending the rights and welfare of Nigerian workers, saying it would not hesitate to take all necessary actions to ensure their safety and well-being. The Labour communique read, "The National Executive Council NEC of the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC convened an emergency meeting on Saturday, August 10, 2024, to address the invasion of the NLC national headquarters by security apparatchik of the federal government, an invasion of the National Secretariat immediately after the holding of the NEC's emergency meeting of 7th to discuss the welfare of workers and Nigerians in the midst of the End Bad Governance protests, in which far-reaching decisions were taken, was considered deeply worrisome. This unprecedented action by government has raised serious concerns about the safety and security of Nigerian workers, as well as protection of trade union rights as enshrined in ILO Conventions 87 and 89 and 98 of the Constitutions of the Federal Republic of Nigeria." The NEC in session observed that since the current administration took office, there has been a pattern of intimidation, brutality, and deceit against the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Nigerian people. The government's action began with the President's May 29, 2023 statement declaring the removal of subsidy, followed by efforts to suppress NLC's opposition through threats, divisive propaganda, and unfulfilled promises to alleviate the country's hardship. It has been a trail of systematic intimidation and violence against trade unions and their leaders. The National Executive Council NEC of the NLC recalled several instances of violence, including the brutal abduction and assault of the NLC president and other leaders in Owerri, Imo State, and the failure to prosecute the perpetrators. The government has also used legal injunctions, military force, and police intimidation to obstruct the NLC constitutional activities, including peaceful protests by affiliate unions. The NEC condemned the criminalization of dissenting views, noting that some labor leaders are still detained because of the protests. Analyst says the call for the resignation of the Inspector General of Police resignation is a misconception. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program ATN Saturday, the national president of South-South Youth Initiative, Imiebi Savior Oscar, said the demand for the sack of the Inspector General of Police should include the President Bola Tinubu administration as well as the Managing Director of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, stressing that Nigerians have lost hope in the renewed agenda hope of the president.
Should be first on Mr. President. The call for sack or resignation should also be for the Group Managing Director of NNPC, the CEO of NNPC, Mele Kyari. He actually have to be sacked. He actually have to resign. I think this approach that the protesters proposed will take directly to. This approach is supposed to protect directly to their domain, even to their personal abode. We should protest to their personal house. We should protest to their direct house. Because we are suffering. They have put us in this hardship. They have put us in this sorrow situation. And you say we should not speak because we are afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. We are not afraid of you. So why shouldn't we speak? This protest should go to the house of Mele Kyari and not to his office alone. Mele Kyari, the group manager of director, the group manager of NNPC, should be sacked. Should resign. It doesn't mean well for Nigerians. We are aware of this issue between Bola Ahmed Tinubu and himself. We are told that he employed Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Mobile. And that's why Bola Ahmed Tinubu returned him for this second tenure. Or third.
Imiebi Savior also advised President Tinubu to resign, considering that his actions are below expectations of Nigerians. This is coming after the End Bad Governance in Nigeria Organizing Committee demanded the dismissal of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetukun, in response to the killing of protesters. This demand was made during a candlelight symposium held in honor of the victims at the Wright House in Ikeja, Lagos State on Friday. You're watching Government and Public Service reports on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has shown that more than 93% of currency in circulation is outside the banking industry and having surged to an unprecedented 4.04 trillion in June 2024. This marks a significant increase in the amount of money in the economy. The CBN's money and credit data also highlighted that currency held outside bank reached a historic high of 3.79 trillion, accounting for 93.6% of the total currency in circulation. A breakdown of the first 6 months of the year shows that 2024 began with 3.65 trillion naira in circulation, reflecting a stable start aligned with typical post-holiday economic activities. By the end of February, this figure had modestly increased to 3.69 trillion, a growth of 43 billion or 1.8% from January. March recorded a more substantial rise, with the currency in circulation climbing to 3.87 trillion naira, marking a month-on-month increase of 175 billion or 4.76%. The trend continued in April, with the figure reaching 3.92 trillion naira, an increase of 53 billion or 1.39% from March, likely spurred by heightened economic activities during the Easter period. In May, circulation further increased to 3.97 trillion, a rise of 42 billion or 1.07% from April. The most significant jump occurred in June, when currency in circulation peaked to 4.04 trillion or 2.11% from May. Looking specifically at currencies outside banks, the year started with 3.28 trillion. By the end of February, this figure had risen to 3.41 trillion, an increase of 130 billion or 3.95% in January. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) has disclosed that 17% of Heritage Bank depositors had yet to receive payments following the bank's liquidation. The corporation, in a statement by spokesperson Bashir Nuhu on Sunday, attributed the delay to verification issues. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) on 3rd of June announced the revocation of bank's license. CBN said Heritage Banks violated Section 12 of the Bank and Other Financial Acts, the CBN, as it could not improve its financial performance, a situation which constitutes a threat to financial stability. The NDIC said it has since reimbursed about 82.36% of the total issued insured deposits to date. The NDIC said it initiated the payments process utilizing BVN to transfer up to 5 million naira per depositor into their alternate bank account within a record time of 4 days of the bank closure. This method, which allowed depositors to receive funds without visiting NDIC offices or filling out forms, marked a significant achievement in the corporation's history. The NDIC said it is actively attempting to contact these depositors through telephone calls and text messages, urging them to complete the verification processes. The corporation offered both online verification options and the possibility of visiting NDIC office in person to resolve outstanding issues. In the meantime, the NDIC also turned its attention to the larger pool of uninsured deposits, those exceeding the insured limit of 5 million naira. The corporation said it has initiated the process of recovering debts and realizing assets from the defunct Heritage Bank to distribute liquidation dividends to those depositors. The NDIC said it is committed to the safety of depositors' funds in all licensed banks. It reassured the public that Nigeria's banking sector remains stable and that depositors' funds in other licensed banks were safe. Nigeria's Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed over 10,000 agro rangers over 19 northern states, including the Federal Capital Territory, to safeguard farmlands and protect farmers from escalating attacks. The initiative is a part of the ongoing efforts to enhance food security in the region and other parts of the country. The NCDC spokesperson Babawale Afolabi, who disclosed this, said the core commitment to protect agro-allied investments and ensuring the safety of farmers and their crops, while the agro rangers are tasked with mediating conflicts between farmers and herders, promoting peaceful coexistence and preventing the malicious destruction of farmland. Afolabi said the deployment was a collaborative effort between the NSCDC, the Federal Government of Agriculture, and international organizations aimed to address the critical issue of food security, adding that no fewer than 165 farmers were killed by bandits between January and March this year. Underscoring the severity of security challenges faced by farmers, it also said farmers in states like Benue, Sokoto, Niger, and Plateau states expressed their distress, reporting not only the loss of crops, but also the death of colleagues due to bandit attacks. Many have been forced to abandon their farmlands amid the rising violence, stressing that the ongoing food inflation crisis, driven by factors such as removal of fuel subsidies and rampant insecurity, has led to concerns about the future of food availability in the country. Senate in the National Assembly has strongly denied allegations, suggesting it is involved in determining its salaries or receiving special fiscal packages from the presidency. The claim, which emerged during a visit by members of the House of Representatives to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, sparked widespread public debate. A statement released by Senate spokesman Yemi Adaramodu, representing APC Ekiti State South, who disclosed this in Abuja, said the Senate described the allegations as an attempt to crucify the legislature by the centurions of political hypocrisy, adding that no senator has received any financial patronage from the presidency. Adaramodu also said the executive arm of government, through his various ministries and agencies, is responsible for awarding contracts for constituency projects, while the funds allocated for these projects vary depending on the number of constituencies in each state, and the intention is to ensure that every region of Nigeria benefits from federal resources. He reaffirmed the Senate's commitment to upholding the economy and growth of Nigeria, insisting that it only receives what is occasionally allocated to it and would never seek additional perks from other branches of government. Former presidential candidate Peter Obi has expressed his deepest condolences to the families of those who lost their lives during the recent End Bad Governance protests. A statement released on X on Sunday, Obi mourned the losses of lives, including security personnel, who died during the demonstrations, and also wished a speedy recovery to those injured during the protests, and assured them that their sacrifices would not be forgotten. The former presidential candidate urged leaders to heed the cries of the people and address their legitimate demands promptly, adding that the need for urgent action to tackle pressing issues such as insecurity, corruption, hardship, and poverty, which fueled the protests, cannot be overemphasized. And this is where we call it a wrap on this edition of Government and Public Service Report on Atlantic Television Network in the city of Port Harcourt. I am King David Obasi, thanking you for staying tuned. Also stay connected to us on our socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X, formerly known as Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching.